The room hums with fluorescent light, and your paper cup leaves a damp ring on the table. You swallow. You can feel the space between your words and the voices around you. Here is the knife-edge question. If you knew that one small change in how you start, hold, and end a conversation could alter the next 10 years of your life, would you take that step tonight? You, right here, with the cup and the hum, standing at the edge of connection. This is a promise of courage, not perfection. Keep that ring of water in mind. We'll come back to it. Let's begin with what this book is really offering. Behind the title is a practical playbook on connection. It's not a script for being clever, it's not a performance guide. It's a map for being fully human with other humans in all the unpredictable moments where you meet them. Lobbies and living rooms, offices and comment sections, family dinners and first dates, crowded elevators and quiet hallways. Books with this title vary by edition and author, but they share a clear promise. You can learn how to approach anyone with warmth and grounded confidence. Ask better questions, listen in a way that makes people feel seen, and navigate tension without losing yourself. What you gain is not a bag of tricks, it's a change in how you carry your attention. It's the difference between waiting for your turn to speak and learning how to see the person in front of you. The transformation is subtle in a single moment and huge across a year. New mentors appear, friendships deepen, work becomes less about politics and more about partnership. Even your inner talk softens, because every outer conversation is training your inner one. If you stay with me, you won't just collect techniques. You will practice a way of meeting people that lowers the temperature of fear and raises the light of curiosity. And that difference is visible, audible, and felt. The heart of talking to anyone about anything is not speech, it's state. What state are you in when you approach? If your body is braced for rejection, your tone will carry it. If your breath is shallow, your questions will be too. Before we speak, let us tune the instrument that will do the speaking. Roll your shoulders. Let your exhale be longer than your inhale. Widen your focus so you can notice 3 things in your periphery: the color of a poster, the shape of a lapel pin, the way light falls across a doorway. When you widen your focus, the body reads safety. Safety opens curiosity. Curiosity opens language. Start with what I call the gentle first inch. The first inch is the slice of space between 2 strangers. Enter it softly. Don't announce, invite. The best opening lines are not spectacular. They are specific, kind, and anchored in the present. If you're at a conference, you might say, "I haven't decided between the 2 afternoon sessions. Which one sounds like it will actually help you next week?" That's not small talk. That's immediate value. If you're in a lobby waiting for an elevator and someone is holding a guitar case, you might say, "I'm curious, do you play more at night or in the morning?" That's not prying, that's respectful interest. If you're at a family gathering and you sense someone hanging back, you might approach at an angle and offer, "I'm grabbing some tea. Would you like anything while I'm up?" The first inch is a gift. You are telling the other person, "I see you. You don't need to perform to be welcome here." What makes that first inch work is the micro-triad beneath it: attention, acknowledgement, appreciation. Attention. I'm with you, not split between you and my phone. Acknowledgement. I reflect something real about your world, not just my opinions. Appreciation. I name something good, even if it's small. The color of their scarf, the clarity of a question they asked, the way they explained something to a colleague. People are starved for precise appreciation. Vague compliments slide off. Specific appreciation lands. Once the first inch opens, you can walk the conversation arc. Imagine a ladder with 5 rungs: facts, feelings, meaning, Values, future. Many conversations never leave the first rung. We ask, where are you from? What do you do? We trade facts. Nothing wrong with facts, but if you want to talk to anyone about anything, you need a way to gently, respectfully climb. Here's how. Start with a present fact, then ask a feeling that's safe, then name a possible meaning, then listen for the value underneath, then invite a future step. You meet an engineer. Fact, you've been deep in that dashboard all morning. Feeling, which part of that was most satisfying? Meaning, what makes that specific part feel worthwhile? Value, sounds like clarity matters more to you than flash. Future, if you had 30 minutes next week to remove one confusion point for your users, what would you try? Notice how each rung respects their autonomy and keeps the spotlight where it belongs, on their lived reality. Conversation widens when we thread and loop. Threading means you catch a word or image and gently tug. Looping means you return to something that mattered earlier. If someone mentioned their grandmother taught them to sew, you can thread. What does she teach you that shows up in your work today? If 20 minutes later they mention a deadline, you can loop. This is where that patience your grandmother taught you pays off, isn't it? Threading makes people feel followed, not interrogated. Looping makes people feel remembered, not used.
But what about small talk? Small talk is often misnamed. It is not small, it is early. And early talk has a job: establish safety and signal goodwill. The weather can do that, but so can a dozen other present tethers: the music choice, the room layout, the organizer's clear agenda, the muffins that look much better than they taste. The art is not in the topic, it's in the tone. Are you alive in your body? Are you tracking the other person's microsignals? Are you allowing pauses that let meaning breathe? The person who treats early talk as a warm-up for trust will never be stuck in it. Your voice matters. And I don't mean your opinions. I mean the physical quality of your voice. A warm, grounded voice says, "We have time." An urgent, high-pitched voice says, "I am chasing approval." Warmth comes from breath and from endings. Let your sentences fall, not rise, unless you're asking a question. Read this out loud. We can figure it out. Let the last word land, then give it a second of silence. That silence is not empty, it's permission. Permission also lives in your body orientation. Face fully forward and you can feel like a spotlight. Turn slightly at a soft angle and the other person has room. In a group, orient your toes toward the person who hasn't spoken. That small turn is an invitation. People rarely forget the person who made space for them to enter. And if you've ever felt invisible in a circle, remember this: the hinge position, the person at the edge who bridges two clusters, is often the one who creates the most value. Be the hinge. Invite the person behind you into the arc of the conversation. Introduce names early and often, and add one crisp detail that helps others remember. This is Zara. She's the one who turned a 3-page onboarding into a half-page checklist that actually works. You will meet barriers: social anxiety, the fear of freezing, the blank mind, the worry that you're boring. Underneath all those is a protective part of you trying to keep you safe from shame. Thank that part. Then give it a job. Tell it, your job is to help me scan for kindness, not danger. Then build rituals. Pre-event, step outside, find a horizon line, breathe out slowly for 8 counts. During, set one intention you can control. For the next hour, my goal is to ask 5 real questions and remember 2 names. Post-event, write a single line about someone you met plus a next step, not a performance review, a relational note. If you do this for 30 days, your network changes shape, not because you collected people, but because you began to carry people carefully. Let's make your questions better. Great questions are short, specific, and spacious. Short means under 12 words if possible. Specific means tethered to something the person just said. Spacious means they can be answered at the surface or at depth without pressure. Try these frames. What surprised you about that? What part of that do you want more of? What felt heavy there? What would make that 10% easier? If someone shares a win, amplify it without grabbing it. That took judgment, not just effort. What told you it was the right move? If someone shares a loss, don't fix it. Don't pivot to how it could have been avoided unless they ask. One line that changes lives. That sounds painful, and I'm here for the story if you want to tell it. Listening is not waiting. Listening is building. When you reflect back a phrase or name the emotion under it, you are placing a brick in the shared house of the conversation. Try reflective stems like, it sounds like, it seems that, it looks as if, then add a gentle question. Did I get that right? The moment you invite correction, you transform the energy. You're not scoring points. You're co-authoring clarity. Humor helps, but not the way you think. The safest humor is observational, not sarcastic, and least of all self-diminishing. You can be light without self-betrayal. If a meeting starts late and everyone looks tense, you might offer, I'm grateful for this extra 2 minutes because it gave me time to remember my actual password. The room exhales. We're in this together. Humor is a pressure valve, not a spotlight. What about status? People sense status by warmth and competence. Lead with warmth, back it with competence. Warmth without competence feels flattery. Competence without warmth feels like a threat. In practice, that means you begin with the relationship and then move to the work. May I ask a quick context question? Tell the other person you want to get it right, not just get it done. In conflict, reverse it. Start with competence. Here are the facts as I see them, and then move to warmth. Help me see what I'm missing because I probably am. Disagreement is a test most conversations fail. But disagreement is not distant if handled well. The move is to separate facts, interpretations, and identity. Facts, what happened. Interpretations, what it means. Identity, what it says about me or us. When someone says, that plan is unrealistic, don't defend your competence. Ask, which part of the plan breaks first in your view? Now you're in fact and assumptions. Then map interpretive frames. I'm weighting speed higher because of the deadline. I hear that you're weighting risk higher because of the uptime requirement. Name the values without judgment. Speed, stability. Then co-design a small test that honors both. The strongest people in conversation are not the ones who win the point. They are the ones who preserve the bridge. Let's talk about depth. How do you move from surface to soul without being invasive? You follow the ladder and you read the room. Depth is an invitation, not a demand. You can offer a true, contained, non-dramatic glimpse from your life to signal safety. Last year, I expected a promotion and didn't get it. I learned how much of my identity I had tied to a title. Then ask a light but real question that doesn't corner. When has a label felt too small for you? Depth is not trauma dumping. It means sharing. If the other person wants to stay on the surface, respect that. Ask about craft. Ask about the part of their work that outsiders misunderstand. Ask about a teacher who changed how they think. People carry meaning like a hidden ember. A good conversation lets it glow without burning. What about when you don't know what to say? Own it with poise. I want to respond well here, and I'm searching for the right words. That sentence buys you time and shows care. If you blank on a name, don't pretend. I'm embarrassed I've lost your name. Will you remind me? Then use it once naturally in the next sentence to encode it.
If you want to exit gracefully, be honest and kind. I'm glad we met. I want to give you your evening back and say hi to 2 more people before I go. May we trade details? The goal is to leave each person lighter, not stuck. Follow-ups are not chores. They are garden work. Within 24 hours, send a short note referencing something specific they said. If you promised a link, send it, but add a one-line why you thought it fit their world. If you want to build a relationship, create a memory of usefulness. Introduce 2 people who would genuinely help each other. Share a resource that removes friction from their day. Ask a question a week later that shows you actually pictured them continuing their story. This is how you shift from contact to connection. Over time, people will call you not because you are everywhere, but because when you are with them, you are actually there. Let's bring this into a few live scenes. Scene 1. You walk into a team offsite where you know 2 people by name, and that's it. Your nervous system wants to cling to your phone. Instead, you step to the side, breathe out slowly, and widen your gaze. You spot a colleague labeling sticky notes with neat block letters. Attention. You approach at an angle. Acknowledgement. These labels are gorgeous. What pen is that? Appreciation. They look up and laugh. You are in. You ask, what do you hope we actually decide today that would make next month easier for you? You've climbed to meaning without rushing. Scene 2. A family dinner on a Sunday with a cousin you haven't spoken to in a year. The old pattern is safe jokes and early exits. Tonight, you try a loop. You remember they mentioned a year ago they were thinking of changing jobs. You say, last time we talked, you were weighing whether to leave. What did you end up teaching yourself about loyalty and courage? That's a value question disguised as curiosity. If they open, listen. If they deflect, honor it and pivot. To craft. What do people never understand about your line of work? You showed respect in either case. Scene 3. The high-stakes meeting. A senior leader challenges your approach. Your body floods. Breathe out. Name the shared aim. We want this launch clean and stable. Then request one piece of their model. If we had to choose one metric to bias our decisions this month, which one would you pick? Now you are aligning frames, not defending ego. There is also the digital layer. Text, email, voice notes. The principle holds. Short, specific, spacious. Preface your ask with context and consent. I have a 2-part question about the draft. Do you have bandwidth for a quick thought today or tomorrow? If you're giving feedback, replace vague intensifiers with clear observations. Instead, this feels a bit off. Try, the first paragraph sets a serious tone and the joke in line 3 breaks it. Was that contrast intentional? When tone can be misunderstood, record a 60-second voice note. People can hear your warmth. If you're angry, put your draft in a notes app and read it aloud before you send it. Almost always, you'll find a sentence you didn't need and an assumption you can soften without losing truth. Group conversations can feel like weather systems. Learn to read them. In a group of 5, you can anchor with a recap that brings quieter voices forward. We've heard 2 strong cases for a delay. I'm curious what risks we run if we don't delay, especially from those who haven't weighed in yet. That move is competence plus warmth. If someone interrupts habitually, hold the thread for the person they cut off. I want to hear them finish that thought. It's a single line that changes dynamics. If you're the one who tends to fill silence, practice yielding. Count 4 breaths in your head before you speak again. Someone else will step forward, and they might offer the exact piece the room needed.
There's a place where many conversations break, the transition from topic to topic. Too abrupt and trust phrase. Too slow and energy dies. Use bridges. That reminds me of something adjacent. Tell me if it's too far a leap. Or maybe switch gears for a minute. I want to pressure test something. Asking permission is not weakness, it's clarity. And clarity is kindness. Sometimes the most important conversation is the one you have with someone in pain. The rules shift. Don't ask why, ask how and what. How is that landing on you today? What does support look like in the next 2 hours? Offer something concrete and small instead of a grand promise. I'm heading to the store. Can I drop off 3 meals you can freeze? Or want me to handle 2 logistics calls so you can sleep? Don't steal their agency. Widen it. And sometimes the most important conversation is with someone who intimidates you. Remember the human constants. Everyone wants to be seen accurately, understood in context, and appreciated for effort. Even the most guarded person relaxes under accurate seeing. You did not have to speak up in that room, and you did. It changed the temperature. Thank you. That's not flattery. That's a witness. When words fail, there is presence. Sit, breathe. Make your face a place of rest. You can say a lot with, "Take your time. I'm not going anywhere." In a world that keeps racing, the person who refuses to rush becomes an oasis. Let's imagine a pattern you pull through an entire evening. You arrive. You tune your state with breath. You offer a gentle first inch to the person nearest you. You climb the ladder 1 rung at a time. You thread and loop. You amplify someone's win, and you honor someone's pain without fixing. You bridge topics with permission. You bring a quieter voice forward. You exit one conversation with gratitude and enter another with attention. You send 2 follow-ups the next day. You keep a small list of people you want to water like plants, not harvest like crops. This is not manipulation. This is stewardship. Now, let me confess something in a personal voice. I have stood at the edge of rooms with that same damp ring on my cup, thinking connection was a test I would fail. I tried being clever. I tried copying the most charismatic person in the room. None of that worked. What worked was humiliatingly simple. I learned to notice. I learned to breathe. I learned that if I tracked the other person's eyes and hands and energy, my own nervousness would turn into curiosity. I learned to say, "I don't know, tell me." I learned to repair when I missed. I learned to honor my limits and rest when the social battery blinked red. I learned that the point of a good conversation is not to be impressive. It is to be aligned with what matters. And what matters most is often small. A question that lets someone set down a heavy bag they've been carrying alone. A name remembered. A check-in after a hard week. Those are not fireworks. They're lamps that keep a path lit. So here's your challenge for today. Choose one person you normally pass by, a coworker in a corridor, a neighbor at the mailbox, a classmate who sits at the edge. Offer the gentle first inch. 1 sentence only, then climb 1 rung. Ask 1 feeling question that is safe and real. Later tonight, send 1 follow-up to someone you care about, referencing 1 specific detail from your last conversation. That's it. 1 inch, 1 rung, 1 note. If you do this today, you will feel a click in your chest. Not the dizzy rush of performance, but the quiet thrum of being human on purpose. As we close, I want you to remember that the life you want is on the other side of 100 small conversations that you can have with integrity and warmth. Don't measure them by applause. Measure them by relief, yours and theirs. And measure them by continuity. Are you building something that will still feel true in a year? When you do, your voice changes shape. People start to trust that they can bring their whole selves to your cable. That is leadership, whether you have a title or not. This is the moment to return to that first image, the damp ring on the table. Earlier, it marked hesitation. Now, let it mark the decision. A ring can be a stain, or it can be a circle. A circle says, this is where we gather. This is where we listen without rushing, speak without performing, and leave each other stronger than we found each other. You can do this, not because you will never be awkward again, but because awkwardness is simply a sign that you care. Speak from that care. Ask with that care. Exit with that care. And if your voice shakes, let it. Courage is not the absence of shaking. It is the choice to keep the bridge steady anyway.
Here we are at the edge of action. You know how to begin, you know how to continue, and you know how to close with care. This is how you talk to anyone about anything, not by being everything, but by being here. The rest will follow. Call to action. Before you go, return to that image of the damp ring on the table and the hum in the room. That's where you stood at the start. Now, in one sentence, tell me the smallest conversation you will start today and where you'll start it. Add it in the comments. Name the person, name the place, name the first inch. Then save this video for tonight as a reminder to send that one follow-up. If this kind of practice matters to you, join us. People who are learning to make every conversation a circle, not a test. Begin now, tonight, not tomorrow. 1 inch, 1 rung, 1 note. I'll be reading.